The search continues for those lost in the devastating floods in central Texas. Officials are facing growing scrutiny over whether enough warnings were issued ahead of the weekend's deadly flooding.
The pain, the shock of what has transpired these last few days has broken the heart of our state.
We do have several crews covering the devastation. We just got an update on the staggering death toll. The death toll from the July 4th weekend flooding in central Texas has now risen to nearly 100. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes. Fatalities have been reported in 6 counties. Most of the deaths happened in Kerr County. At least 10 girls from Camp Mystic are still missing. Officials say crews were able to rescue more than 850 people over the holiday weekend. And this morning, a news conference took place in Kerrville with city leaders, first responders, and other officials, along with Senator Ted Cruz. In studio now, Sean Rabb with the very latest. Sean.
You know, many of these kids from the Highland Park area, at least 3, and you know, as parents first learned the flood, then their child was missing, then notified of their child's death. Some have, through their pain, shared names and pictures with us, and we share them with you so that you may know them as well.
Hannah and Rebecca Lawrence, 8-year-old twins from Dallas, died in the flooding at Camp Mystic. The girls completed 2nd grade this year at University Park Elementary. Their parents, John and Lacey Lawrence, in a statement to us, shared Hannah and Rebecca brought so much joy to us, to their big sister Harper, and so many others. We will find ways to keep that joy and to continue to spread it for them. But we are devastated that the bond we shared with them and that they shared with each other is now frozen in time. Thank you for the love and support. 8-year-old Hadley Hannah is among those confirmed dead also to have died at Camp Mystic. Her parents informing us of her death Monday morning, writing, "Our family is experiencing unimaginable grief. We're reaching out with a heartfelt request for privacy and compassion," adding, "while we are deeply moved by the outpouring of support from neighbors." Little Eloise Peck and Janie Hunt, also of Dallas, are among the dead. Janie Hunt, part of the Hunt family, owners of FC Dallas and the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, Blair and Brooke Harbor, 8th and 6th grade sisters at St. Rita's Catholic School, Dallas. The girls were killed when their cabin was swept away by the rushing waters of the Guadalupe River. And the Camp Mystic director, Richard Dick Eastland, longtime resident in Kerr County, gave his life as he tried to rescue campers from the fast-rising floodwaters. Some who died in the flood we've previously talked about, families are asking now for privacy, overwhelmed with heartbreaking grief in this sad, sad story that is not near an end.
I need to tell my community and those families who are waiting, this will be a rough week. Primary search continues, and we remain hopeful every foot, every mile, every bend of the river. Our work continues. You need to know that we have been blessed with help from the community, from the state, and the nation.
And it is amazing how people have volunteered and come to the aid of those in Kerr County. We pray for all of the families and the Kerr County community, changed in many ways forever.
Pray indeed. Sean Rabb, thank you.
All right.
So the flooding stretched from Kerr County all the way to Canyon Lake. This is in Comal County. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Dan Henry. Dan, I know you have a look at what's happening in central Texas and also what's happening here at home.
Yeah, Heather, fortunately, the activity is starting to wind down a little bit across the state. Here's a look at the regional radar right now, and there are some flash flood warnings in effect, most notably northeast of Austin and south of San Angelo right now. Nothing here in North Texas. I do want to zoom in to the hill country, and I've circled that area there. Kerrville, Fredericksburg, Comfort, up towards Harper. Those are the areas devastated by the flooding. They are all dry at this hour. All the heavier thunderstorms have been off to their north and northwest this afternoon from Junction out towards the Sonora area where they still have flash flood warnings in effect. Meantime, closer to home, couple of pop-up showers. There's a few sprinkles of rain moving through the Park Cities and up towards the Carrollton Farmers Branch area. We'll continue to see some isolated showers this evening up until sunset, and then it fizzles out pretty quickly. Current temperatures generally in the upper 80s to low 90s. Thunderstorms could develop early tomorrow morning. We're going to talk more in detail about that, track down your 7-day forecast coming up.
All right, Dan, thank you. President Trump signed a disaster declaration for the state of Texas and for Kerr County following the deadly floods. That allows FEMA resources to be sent to the area. Governor Abbott posted to X thanking the president for aiding in recovery efforts. The president told reporters he will likely visit Texas on Friday to see the affected areas for himself. Search and rescue efforts do continue in Kerrville. Crews and volunteers looking for people who are still missing. Fox's Connor Hansen live in Kerrville. So much damage. Tell us where you are and what you're seeing.
Heather, we're standing right on the edge of the Guadalupe River here in Kerrville. You can see some of the damage behind me, the massive trees the water has been able to take down, but it is so much worse in other areas that are just so hard to get to right now. The focus is very much still on search and rescue, but that difficult terrain and more flood watches that went into today have threatened to slow down that process.
Crews in central Texas are working around the clock, looking for those still missing after the weekend's devastating floods. Dozens of people are dead, but officials are holding out hope that they can find more survivors.
Every foot, every mile, every bend of the river. Our work continues.
With more rain hitting the state, they're asking volunteers to stay away from search sites.
We then have to pull off of those search and rescue missions to make sure that they don't become victims themselves.
Operators at Camp Mystic, an all-girls Christian camp, say they lost more than 24 campers and counselors after water slammed into cabins along the Guadalupe River. Richard Vela described his feelings picking up his daughter from a nearby camp.
It's just sad enough, leaving her there for a month. And some of them just dropped them off and they ain't seeing them for the rest of their lives.
Meanwhile, local officials are facing criticism over a lack of evacuation orders before the flooding. Senator Ted Cruz says conversations could be had about earlier flood detection.
In hindsight, if we could go back and do it again, we would evacuate particularly those in the most vulnerable areas.
And officials here say there will be a full review of that flood warning system in the coming weeks. Heather.
All right, Connor, thank you. Connor Hansen live this afternoon. Thanks. Kerrville is staying strong in the midst of this tragedy. The visual of what the small community looks like now is leaving many at a loss for words. Fox 4's Peyton May spoke with families who live near the Guadalupe River and has a look at the devastation.
Most of the damage that we're seeing here in Kerrville is on the bank of the Guadalupe River. That's where most of the trees are uprooted, debris scattered, and the search and rescue efforts are ongoing.
I knew it was going to rain, 55% chance the night before, but like this, 37 feet in 45 minutes, we didn't expect it.
The flash flooding was a shock to many in Kerr County, and the loss of life even more devastating. The Spiegler family lives right near the water. They've had to do the unimaginable, search for bodies.
Luckily or unluckily, I don't know which way to put it, we haven't found any people.
For the last few days, they've been fearful of finding one of the many missing people tragically killed in high flood water.
And you have to look at it like, I don't want to find somebody like that, but it'll help the family. It'll give them closure so they're not going, where's my mom or where's my dad or my daughter.
So far, they found piles and piles of personal items that have washed downstream the Guadalupe River.
It's really sad. You don't know what to do with it because it's like destroyed and you know it's somebody's belongings.
With their hometown torn apart, their primary goal is to lift others up.
We're very community driven. Everybody, if anything happens, whether it's something like this or somebody's house catches on fire, everybody comes together. We try to take care of each other. It's that small town feel that doesn't really exist anywhere anymore.
Reporting in Kerrville, Peyton May, Fox 4 News.
Well, many of you have reached out asking how to help those affected by the flooding. Fox 4 set up a donation site to send money directly to the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. It's a QR code on your screen. Just scan that or follow the link to donate. Remember, just always vet and verify any fundraiser you see online.